not someone that I didn't get along with. I basically, for the most part, just kept my distance from Joy Taylor. And I kept my distance, not because I didn't like her, it's just because I knew myself. I know myself. I know what I'm capable of. And that big rack of hers that she showed off constantly, it's just, and that peanut butter skin with that big rack, like, Jay, keep your distance. That's going to get you into trouble. And so that's what I did. I kept my distance.
Hey, where the bitches at? It's supposed to be titties. Where the fucking titties and the bitches?
Hey, 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 it's Fred Albert, and I'm gonna sing a song for you. And Bill's gonna show you a thing or two. You'll have some fun now with me and all the gang, learning from each other while we do our thing. Na, 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 gonna have a good time. Hey, hey, hey.
This is Bill Cosby coming at you with music and fun. And if you're not careful, you may learn something before it's done. Hey, hey, hey.
This is Joy Taylor, okay? All right? And if you know, you know. She was she is a prominent figure in Fox Studio Sports Media, and she's one of the defendants in a massive lawsuit filed by a hairstylist. And the night prior to this recording, I listened to a recount of most of the allegations on a channel called Red Pill Sleeper Cell. It was incredibly informative and shit. Okay, I'm sorry for my mirth and shit. And part of it is acid tinged sarcasm and shit. Okay, and, I regret the direction that this fucking commentary is going to go because it's just going to to a lot of people it's going to just sound like men going like, oh well, when we do it, this is blah blah blah. And I'm tired of that narrative in 2025 and shit. Right before I made this recording, I was looking at Jason Whitlock's comments on it, his unabashed comments, and I don't like the fat fuck, but I have to commend him for being savage and just being out there and open and shit. And I hope this is a trend going forward and shit because I have to say it. Men be taking like several bloody punches to the nose while their arms are folded behind their back at parade rest and shit. And I'm fucking tired of it and shit. And I'm gonna put some personal anecdotes in this bitch. My last job, there was a female that worked there, some cake, and she was doing it the most, to the point where she got an employee achievement award one year and a cash bonus along with that, and people actually booed in the audience, and I'm talking about a lot of people that didn't even speak English. They're booing. It's like her fuckery transcended language barriers. And when I look at Joy, when I look at Joy Taylor, shit, I have the obvious visceral reaction to her beauty. She is a beautiful, exotic woman and shit. I ain't gonna even lie. Don't give me that colorism bullshit. Alright, now I want to say it, but this is a safe space for straight black men. Because we take it on the nose with the world's boogeymen and shit. So I just feel like I could be equally savage, if not more, than Jason Whitlock and shit. Because, no one has my face, and even if they did, it wouldn't matter and shit. I just fit into a visual stereotype of box that you guys would put me in your infinite ignorance and shit. Like most of, the people that I've encountered in my life and shit. They never knew I was self-aware and shit. That I'm looking right at them and shit. And, I'll leave it out of that. If I go any further, some dickhead will try to psychologically analyze me and shit. And it's not that, okay? And if you read these fucking allegations and shit, this woman was complicit in her own sexual exploitation. She used her body, her looks, and not much of her intellect, whatever it was, to advance to the point where she was able to terrorize lower tier employees. And that I cannot abide, I cannot stand it and shit. Like I said in that personal anecdote, it was in an environment where that happened pervasively. I saw shit and heard and was told of shit offhand. I don't know why they were telling me. But, it drew you in. When you're in this kind of a work environment and shit, it's like a fucking black hole. When somebody's doing shit like that around you or, near you, you kind of get drawn in. You can't escape it. You're just trying to keep your nose down to do your job. It's eventually going to come to the fore and shit. All right? I don't know how it was, man, but, when you hear those allegations, you can go look it up for yourself and read that shit. When you hear those fucking allegations and you read the briefs, you can understand where this woman was coming from. The woman that is filing this multi-million-dollar lawsuit, I assume, is extremely attractive. She's Persian. She's an exotic. She got Joy Taylor whipped and shit, and outside of the minority majority and shit. Inside, our sphere, that petri dish with the Tupperware lid on it. Visually speaking, Joy Taylor is a sexual goddess and shit. Okay, she is very attractive, very curvy. Definitely my type. My type and shit. I ain't gonna even lie. I've been with at least 4 women that fit her build. Okay, I've been with 4. One of them not even native of this goddamn country. All right, I'll leave it at that. Shit. There were some bad motherfuckers. Each one of them had a various issues and personal foibles that precluded me from doing anything other than the pound town and shit. It was, I being with them and shit and everything made me laugh my fucking ass off because I was growing up tragically non-select. All right, so much so that I could have had my own sitcom on ABC. Would have been a black comedy and shit. Joy Taylor, you are grimy, and I don't care that she used her draws to get where she had to go. They don't blame that motherfucker was busting her shit up and shit. I'm gonna tell you how proficient is sex. Those briefs indicate that she was. While she was screwing around with her boss, she stupidly had a dinner with her affair partner and his wife, and I think it was on him, and maybe she did something like maybe hypothetically maybe she had sucked a golf ball through 5 miles of garden hose or something that afternoon, but somehow her fiance became aware that something was going on and threatened to go public. This motherfucker paid for the canceled wedding and venue and all that shit. He paid all that shit off and some shut up money to this guy and continued along with the affair. So much so that, Miss Taylor at some point later, after being warned, when another of her dalliances with this coon who shall go unnamed was discovered and shit, she said that she would report her boss for forcing himself on her. Okay, it would be a false allegation, a Andrea Constance situation. I'm laughing my ass off because this shit is old hat for me, having been in a certain, in a couple of different arenas and shit, working and making pennies on the dollar. I ain't gonna lie. This is old hat. I can't tell you, the department I was in actually investigated and collected data for, fake allegations and shit. Nikki rolled my fucking eyes because I know that, you seen the bitch doing stuff or, motherfucker staring longingly at the chick's ass and shit in the office. And then he look at you and next, like within 10 minutes, this motherfucker run up on your ass in the men's bathroom, acting hyper aggressive and shit, about getting his head knocked off. All right? Yeah, a situation like this with Joy Taylor. That other coon, that other black coon that get on my fucking nerves. Well, I don't even say his goddamn name. Alluding to, those, legal briefs, which tells me that Joy Taylor is damn good at, between the sheets. No big deal for, women of exoticals and shit with a little bit of flavor in them. This motherfucker was loitering outside her office door, looking lost and shit. Where that the hairdresser had to, do the 510 thing and ask him a question or make some kind of polite conversation. And it was, the look on his face, the sexually haunted look on his face, prompted her to go and tell Joy Taylor that, man, she needed to chill out. Otherwise, her boss would find out that she was entertaining other options, of which she obviously has many, and she's always looking to add to that roster. Shit, that bitch like Pokemon and fucks it. Can't just have this one. You got to get them all. It's grimy, man. I hope that this hairdresser gets a windfall of money and shit. I want that bitch to be able to take her personal helicopter to her next hairdressing appointment. It's not because it's Fox News, okay? It's just because it's like 2025 and shit. This should be the era of men becoming unapologetically savage and shit. The president elect, he said grab out a pussy, man. Okay? We don't never look at the inverted, you know, we don't never look at the inversion of that ideology that Trump is vilified for shit, to grab them by the pussy. I am no Trump supporter, by the way, okay? And I'm not saying that out of some shame or because I'm scared I'll be canceled. I'm already shadow banned 4 to 5 times over, okay? I just, haven't worked in certain arenas and seen women doing bullshit, I feel a certain way and shit. I've actually been sexually harassed on at least 2 or 3 jobs and shit by women, like aggressively, sexually, aggressively sexually harassed. Whether it was seriously egregious, if the roles were reversed, I'd be sitting in a mansion in Miami. All right, put it that way. I had a bitch so mad that she couldn't harass me that she filed a complaint with the city attorney of Los Angeles, and I had to go down there and listen to some bullshit because I'm black and everything. He thought I was ignorant, and I just trolled his ass and shit. And I realized he was fucking that shit. I was like, man, you definitely cheating down, bro. Joy Taylor is grimy, man. She's grimy, but I would have some of that shit, to be quite honest and shit. I'm not gonna lie, man. Like in my prime and shit, if I could have some of the Joy Taylor stuff, I would take that shit, man. I drink that shit like a power drink. I would cheat I would cheat the shit. I would overdose on Viagra and knock the shit up, bleed it up, man. I take it to Chateau Mama and and get it on, man. And I don't give a shit. And she, I just have a non-disclosure problem. And I'd be like, okay, cool, but I ain't gonna make no big deal about, I'm gonna walk out that bitch loud as fuck. I'm like, hey, that was some good ass pussy. That's some wop. She got Fox wop. I wonder if that shit come with a MAGA hat. That being said, Kings, I know I was just fucking around for like 11 minutes. This is a teachable moment. You gentlemen are really gonna have to think about the way you move in society. And you got to think like an insurance agent and shit. To see women in terms of, cost and effect. What are the odds that she can affect your career, your wealth, your stability and shit. You need to think about that because, it's a dirty war out there. Shit, it starts in their panties. Okay, don't have a work wife. Okay. A long time ago, somebody told me, "Don't shit where you eat." I thought it was a disgusting analogy, but he was telling me right and shit. It was a meat and potatoes motherfucker at a government job I was on and shit as a temp. He was telling me the truth. I had already fucked up and shit. But considering my situation at home and shit, and the fuck up that I was doing in that job, it was really a no-win situation either way, whether I did it or not and shit. It was always going to end up fucked up and shit, but you don't have to do that. You can make an informed decision. It was, I feel like sharing one more anecdote. I worked at this government job as a temp. And, sometimes you can unconsciously be aware of the danger that you could be in. And I had this girl at my job, this woman, I'm going to say a girl, she was about 25 or so. This woman was like she looked like a uber thick, under Joy Taylor level thick version of Halle Berry. She had that haircut that Halle Berry said. She had that. She looked just almost like her. She like kind of half Caribbean chick. Found out that I lived in Hollywood and was always on my case, man. Like, oh, how's it living in Hollywood? And I just smiling and interlocking her fingers behind her hands and with her arms behind her back, accentuating her a cute hourglass figure. And I just played dumb for the most part. And I was like, I'm not saying shit, you know. Plus, I was already in a situation and shit with and I wasn't gonna say shit. But I had seen her a year or so after I left that job over by the DMV in some dude's car, and the dude wasn't there, like a nice car. And she called out to me and asked me to come over to her side of the car, and I went over there. And she still was asking me about that fucking apartment and shit. You see what I'm talking about, Kings? You see what single-mindedness and shit. She wanted something from me and shit, and that shit was gonna end with me being cuckolded and shit, and abused economically and emotionally and shit. Definitely. All right. And I just played it off and walked away. And a few minutes later, she went by and I saw some dude. She was in that motherfucker with some pretty boy, Keith Sweat looking dude and shit. And he was driving and he had one arm around her and the other arm on the wheel. And he was happy as fuck, just driving off tonight to some, shit from back in the day. And I just laughed and shit. I was like, man, I wish I could hit that shit, but fuck that bitch. It's the red flag. Joy Taylor is a grimy ass chick. Okay, in my opinion. Okay, that's my opinion, allegedly and shit. Okay, if any of the shit, that shit is true, even a fracture of her egregious behavior. She even tried to dirty Mac this chick and set her up with Skip Bayless, who offered this woman $1.5 million to give him some ass. Just $1.5 million for some ass. Like one time, he just wanted her. He wanted her so bad. And she wouldn't have been in that situation for Joy Taylor trying to be a backdoor madam or pimp. Then she got the Fox logo on that pimp cup and shit. That's some big ass titties. Okay, and I like everything. I like her whole package, man. I wish I could get a clone of this bitch with just put my own brain in there and shit. I know how fucked up that sounds. This is all about the male gaze. Okay, I have to be unapologetically masculine and shit. We have to stop apologizing for, being visual creatures and shit. And some feminists said that shit about us decades ago, that men are visual creatures. It's one of the greatest weaknesses. And I say, okay, cool. Well, fuck you. When you talk about it with your titties out, with a mini skirt on, with your cheeks busting out, running around with this rhetoric that Joy Taylor was, spearing about, pulling herself up by her bootstraps and shit. I know you pulling yourself up by your thong strap and shit. No boy, like hitting that shit. He going froggy style on your ass. I'm sorry. If she came to me, I'll act like I'm sorry if she say shit. If I could get some ass. Okay? Sorry. Look, I'm an elder statesman of this community. I'm by no means a paragon of virtue. I am simply a human being and shit. I'm offended at the double standard that women enjoyed and shit at the expense of innocent men that were trying to do their jobs but couldn't get out of the way of the shit. When you work in a certain environment and shit, that's like being in an enclosed space, man. That's a survival mode. If you look up the brief and read it, you'll understand the woman's, the reason why she's filing this shit. She had a complex PTSD, and it wasn't like she waited a bunch of years to file this shit. She was actively fighting for her job as a makeup artist and shit, and avoiding Skip Bayless and shit. And, getting getting dirty mouth. And, Joy Taylor eventually got angry with her and started doing allegedly started doing racially tense shit, saying that she didn't know how to do a black woman's head and all that shit. This bitch knows she don't want to be black. You ask her if she black, she'll probably slap the shit out. She'll probably have somebody else do it. She's grimy. And only thing I find unappealing is her actual speaking voice and shit, honestly. I don't want to hear that shit. But she's screaming. Yeah, hey, Jason Wicklock getting canceled. I'm shadow banned and shit, so what the fuck, right? Kings, man. I'm telling you, man. There don't be no dick police and shit, man. But, in the workplace, man, I think y'all need to think about the bag and avoid all that other shit because these motherfuckers, they didn't break the mold when it comes to the modern women and shit. They're coming off a conveyor belt every year, younger versions and shit. There's another Joy Taylor out there, same stats, better face, better hair, bigger ass and shit. You really don't need the shit where you eat and shit. That was solid advice I got back in the day. I want to tell that gentleman who was actually a loan shark, thank you. Kings, I leave you with these 3 rules. Okay? These 3 rules. Keep your head on the swivel, especially in this case. And secondly, protect the bag. Because that's all they want and shit. That's all what it boils down to is tangibles and shit. Because you're dealing with giant infantilized women and shit. There's some high school bullshit. Arrested development from the female perspective. Protect your bag. And third, definitely not least, is do not make fallen women the stewards of your family, okay? Don't make them stewards of your family. Shit, be controlling to a fault, okay? You have to. Do not make fallen women the stewards of your family, and definitely do not make fallen women the mothers of your children, okay? That shit is tantamount, because your children are your future, your children are your legacy, and you guys, all of you, I love you. I get to be this human with you with this commentary and shit. I want you to go in peace and live your best life and be able to make informed decisions about what you're going to do with it. Okay? You're living for you. Right? That being said, I'll praise the Most High.
I dubbed them princess boys because clearly they want the princess treatment. And being a woman of substance and means, I can provide that for them. Now, there's things that I want in exchange for taking care of a princess boy. And if that is what men are interested in behaving like, I feel like I can do that. I can be that person for you. I can give you an experience you've never had.
Can we just keep it a buck? If they're fine enough, if they're funny enough, or if their financial status is what you want. Fine, funny, fucking money.
Fuck.
You're throwing all boundaries, standards, all that shit you talked on Instagram about how you would never, and this woman ain't cute because women this and men this, you're moving forward with this person.
The Black Patriarchy. A non-existent group of fictional black male power brokers not discredited, erroneously jailed or outright killed by the minority majority who look the other way as they work tirelessly to shame, oppress, and outright take out the altruistic black female populace of the honorable democratic United States of America. 3K's inset bitches. These evil wealthy members of the black patriarchy are the sole reason for all the ills of the black community, walking, talking, holding down jobs, and doing everything up to and including giving their very lives in service to their baby mamas and baby's motherfucking kids. Their motto that strikes fear into the hearts of black women everywhere: bitches ain't shit but hoes and tricks.